Hey guys, Dr. Gilmore here. Just taking it easy this evening. Tuesday night, about 10 till 9. I got about an hour or so. Thought I'd sit here and do a little reading. And hey, Suzanne, all right. And thought anybody wants to chat, we would chat and see how you guys are doing. And I'd update you on my juice cleanse. And I think I have a new name for a juice cleanse. A juice cleanse is basically a way to have to go to the bathroom a whole lot of times. Brenda, how you guys doing? Karen, hi. Lori, Mary Beth, Robin, Suzanne, you guys are awesome. How you doing this evening? I hope you're all doing well. Got on the scale just a little while ago, and amazingly enough, I was 193. So I have a feeling that whatever this cleanse is doing, it's getting rid of a lot of fluid somehow. Don't know. It's supposed to be working in the liver. These are all herbs and things like that. So it's not my strong suit, but I'm definitely learning. My friend is doing fine. Thanks, Vanessa, for thinking about him. He's there is no news. He's comfortable, and he's doing well, doing as well as I suppose he could be. Seeker, how you doing? Kristen, hi. I think that once I finish the cleanse tomorrow, and I just got finished taking care of the bottles, getting them out of the freezer. I did a little time on the counter, and then just a water bath for a few minutes, and make sure that I broke up the ice in them and put them in a bag so that I wouldn't forget them. And I was going to put them in the fridge, but it's going to be in the low 40s tonight. So I just went ahead and put them in the truck for tomorrow. So they'll be ready for me to go in the morning. I won't have to run out and pick them up. So tomorrow I will drink those. I have a short day and am finished by noonish, so I'll probably drink the first 3 tomorrow, and then I don't know, I may drink them all in the morning. I don't know, we'll see. It doesn't really seem to matter. I just drink them one after another. They're kind of tasty, so I just drink them up, and then tomorrow will be the last day of that, and I'll be interested in how I feel, if I notice any difference. I don't know if you noticed anything. You really don't know if you noticed anything different with it. I think you just sort of do it. It's one of those things. It's like, taking a multivitamin every day. Some people say that they feel better when they take it. Some don't. But I think we all agree that if you take a multivitamin every day, you're probably doing something healthy for your body. So I'm sort of in that area with this cleanse process that maybe it's making me healthy. And hopefully that's all there is to it. But it's not causing any kind of diarrhea or anything like that. I just seem to be urinating a lot. And so maybe that's the effect of the detoxification process. I don't know. So other news, the DW is working pretty much. She spent a lot of time today working on our new public Facebook account, and yesterday we had some trouble. It takes not YouTube. Got to get this right. Facebook. She's working on the Facebook account, and Facebook, it turns out, is turning into a format that is every bit as powerful as YouTube. So I'm finding that really fascinating. In fact, in many ways, it's superior. So one of the things I want to be sure to do is share videos on both formats. And so what I'm going to do is, like if you saw the videos today, which they don't seem to be very popular, but the videos of the things that I do with patients that are not procedure related, I'm trying to video more of those and kind of share more of those stories, because I think they're very important in healthcare in general. And then they're sort of overlooked because they're not as flashy, but they're really quite important. And so I am working to make sure I do at least one of those every day. We don't always get an interesting procedure every day. We do procedures pretty regularly. Had an ingrown toenail, for example, yesterday, but it wasn't really, I like doing those ingrown toenails that are really like awful, because those I think are interesting to people and they want to see that. But if it's just, maybe it's ingrown, maybe it's a bit swollen, but not terrible, I'm not going to bore you guys with, those kind of videos because they're just not really all that, interesting. We did have a young lady today, one of the Nurse Princess's, Johanna's patients, and she had a mucocele, which is a kind of inclusion cyst. Usually they're a blockage of a salivary gland. Typically they show up right inside the lip area here, but she has much more lip material than I do. I've got a thin upper lip. She has more voluptuous lips, and she had a bump on it. And she was a little bit frightened about all of that, but she allowed me to video it. And basically all we did was we just took an 18-gauge needle, we inserted it into the spot and decompressed it and drained it, and it bled for a few minutes. And so we just held pressure on it and it stopped. And I think that's all it's going to need. I don't think it needs anything more than that. But when I was all done with it, I just didn't really think it was worthwhile for the main YouTube channel. So I just deleted it. I didn't like it that much. So, but I thought it was interesting. But not everything I think is interesting, I realize, is going to end up on the main YouTube page. But some of the other stuff that we're doing, I think, is very germane to sort of our message of being healthy and talking about medications and compliance and how important it is. And we had really a good video that I made with a patient today that I've yet to edit, but I'm going to, and it'll show up here eventually, but it's also going to show up on the new Facebook page. So I've learned to upload videos onto that page and set them for a later release time. So I want to get in the habit of, when I have a video like that, I'm going to have it released here first in the evening, and then in the following morning, nope, just the opposite. I'm going to have it released here early in the morning, like around 7 o'clock, and then I'll have it like at 6:45 or 7 on the Facebook account. So it'll be in both places. So I like doing it on putting them on the Facebook account because it's easy to share and people like to share the videos. So so we're working into that. She's also working on helping to develop that into an e-commerce sort of platform for us so that we can begin to work with different products. And while we're gung-ho, we've never been busier with the Meta 7 product line and with all the supplements. We also feel there are a lot of people that just aren't interested in supplements and they want to support us in different ways. And so we're going to be adding things that people can buy off of the Facebook account and help support what we do. And things that are a little bit less expensive, perhaps, and items that we don't have to necessarily carry. So maybe items that we can have made with our logo and things like that. That if somebody wants to buy and if they just sell a few, that's fine. And a few weeks later, we can feature another one, and we can keep it interesting with different products and make it a little bit more interesting. Let's see. A Facebook example, a local meteorologist, very popular, was let go from a local station. He does daily weather at 3 p.m., almost 5,000 views daily. Oh, you couldn't find the new Facebook page? Why, let me help you right out with that. I have that information for you now. So when you first set up a public account, they don't allow you to specify the name. You just sort of get a random name with a bunch of letters, numbers, things like that. But we have made it past the point now where we can do that. So let me post it right here. And if you click on that, it should take you right to the new official Facebook account that the DW is taking over and running, and that's going to be her baby. And she is putting a lot of work into it. In fact, she told me just a little while ago that she needed to take a break. She'd been working on it for most of the day today. It's very interesting, all the nuances of how to set these things up and how to make them work and look good. And so we're working through a lot of that. We're not really promoting it too much yet, but we will later. And right now, I think we've got, I don't know, 75 members or 75 followers or whatever you call it on Facebook. And I'm learning there are different kinds of levels of interest in Facebook accounts. And I've never been a big Facebook person because typically Facebook accounts turn into these giant political battles and wars and flames and all these things. And I'm not really interested in that. I realize some people are, and they can do that on their accounts. But I have a personal Facebook account that I probably haven't logged into, except accidentally clicking a link and having it pop up, that kind of thing. And then I just close it and move on. But I haven't really messed with it in a year or two, or maybe even longer. It's been some time. So you have to have a private account first, and then you piggyback off of that. You piggyback the public account. So now I'm an administrator on that account, and the DW is an administrator on that account from both of her accounts to do so. So she has a couple of Facebook accounts. One of hers is her private Facebook account. And then we set up another one for her that she could use just to manage the new public account. So anyway, so that's been going on today. And so she's making progress, and she's actually learned that our Shopify account, where we have our Meta 7 products, you can actually list that now on Facebook, because Facebook and Shopify are somehow linked, and it'll bring our Shopify account in that has all of our supplements and allow you to click and buy right off of Facebook without necessarily having to stop and go onto the Shopify account. So we think it'll make it easier for people to make purchases that way. We want to keep the Shopify account one that is all supplements. And there's a reason for that, because it's tax-free and I don't have to handle sales tax distribution. And that can be kind of a pain to do. And so we've stuck with all tax-free items on that. But the items that we're going to bring in through other organizations and feature those and so forth on the new Facebook public account we won't have to handle that, because they'll be handled elsewhere. So we don't have to deal with that. We also won't have to carry the merchandise. So it'll be sort of a drop ship kind of arrangement where they'll be able to put our logos and that kind of thing on items. And for example, many of you take vitamin D and you go and you buy it maybe at CVS or Walgreens, and you get a good purity brand, and you may pay $25 for a 90-day supply. That same product we have for $10, and I pay the shipping. So I think you come out way ahead when you buy it from me. But I actually had a patient in the other day who had just had been by CVS before she came into the clinic. She had a bottle of the 5,000 unit vitamin D product that we also have for sale. It was a gel product, so virtually identical to ours, but it was with the whole CVS setup. She had a receipt. It was over $26, which I thought was outrageous. I just think that's just an outrageous price for 90 days worth of the 5,000 unit vitamin D product. So I made her a deal. I said, I'll tell you what, I'll give you 4 bottles for $30, and all you have to do is take the one back you just purchased from CVS and get a refund, which she was ecstatic about, because she got a year's supply of vitamin D for about the same price that she had gotten just 90 days worth at the big chain pharmacy. So, so you just got to watch what you're buying and make sure you're, that you're getting it you're getting a fair price. And I'm sure you can go online and there are other places where these are a lot cheaper. But when you go into the pharmacies and you feel like you're going in and they've got your best interest at mind, that's not necessarily always the case. Sometimes the prices are marked way up and they get away with it because they have a lot of foot traffic that's coming through and, oh yeah, I need some vitamin D, and they throw it in the bag and they don't really think about the price, but it adds up. So she's working on that and some other things, and I'm learning to post the videos and set them for release at later times. So there won't be a duplication for the most part. There won't be a duplication of the videos times. There'll be the same videos here as on the Facebook account. And I say here, and I mean in the vignettes channel. So because these are going to be more of the story types, the types where we tell the story, we let the patient get involved and tell their story. And then we share the videos, and there's a lot of education, but there's not anybody squeezing assist. So they're not going to be, if you're looking just for that kind of content, then go to Josefa Reyna's account, and you can see what I think is the best expression of comedome in the industry. I don't think anybody does a better job of what she does. I think, in fact, her work is magnificent and amazing, and we're going to be sharing that also on the Facebook account. So look for that. But basically, the videos will show up here first. So that's my promise to you. So a new video will come on first here in the evening, and we'll try to set those up somewhere around 6:45-ish, or we might change that a little bit based on the popularity and what seems to be best for people to see them. And then set the same video up on the Facebook account to come out maybe later in the day. So one or the other, you'll be able to get them. So anyway, let's see. I'll follow as soon as you're done here too. Well, thank you, Brenda. We appreciate that. Just got one more from you. I appreciate that, Seeker, very much. And I saw some of our regulars that have already come on, and Joe Sanderson has already asked that we not ban her. So she won't get banned. She's awesome. So that's not going to happen. Real Ruler, how you doing? Let's see. Oh, all right. All right. Here we go. We got a question. Questions are good. Brenda, can I pick your brain? She says, at my doctor appointment, my hemoglobin was 9.2. Doctor told me to get elemental iron. Any idea how long until I start to get my energy back? Typically speaking, if your hemoglobin is 9.2 and it is strictly an iron deficiency anemia, which that's not always the case. A lot of times, primary care doctors don't delve deeper into the cause of anemias, and we should. If your anemia is being caused strictly by an iron deficiency, then you should notice probably within a few weeks that you're feeling a little bit more energetic. You should feel a little less short-winded if you're getting that kind of symptoms. So most people don't notice anemia until it falls below 10. And we don't start worrying about doing things like transfusions unless it falls below 8. And so those are kind of some rough guidelines that a lot of people use. Real Ruler says, if you crush Wheaties cereal very fine, it has enough iron in it that you can pick up the pieces of cereal with a rare earth magnet. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. So, Brenda, you're saying heavy frequent cycles from menopause. I hope you mean perimenopause and not menopause. Postmenopause, bleeding from postmenopausal state needs to be investigated with an endometrial biopsy. And it's very important because sometimes postmenopausal bleeding can be a sign of endometrial cancer. So it's an easy biopsy to done. Simply what we call a pipette is inserted into the uterus, and a few little presses against the endometrial lining in different spots of the uterus is able to get a very good sampling of the endometrium without causing any damage. So if it's postmenopausal, be concerned. If it's perimenopausal, that's less concerning because irregular menses, with some being heavier and some being either absent or light, is very common in postmenopause or in perimenopause. So hope that helps a little bit. Deborah, hello. Always nice to see smiling faces. You first had an ablation and then a hysterectomy. When you have a hysterectomy, sometimes usually these are done by GYN, which gynecologists are surgeons of sorts. They typically work just with female organs, but there are two main kinds of hysterectomies. One is a complete or a total hysterectomy, and there are different forms of total hysterectomies. There are TAHs, which are total abdominal hysterectomies, which we don't see as done as often anymore because that requires a phalansteal. That's the kind of incision. It requires an incision very similar to what is done for a cesarean section, but the entrance into the pelvic area is done through the skin, and then the uterine blood flow is tied off, and then the uterus is removed, and then the ovaries are removed. Sometimes they do a partial hysterectomy where they'll remove the uterus but leave one or both ovaries so that there's still some production of hormones. So yeah, different ways of doing that. She took everything robotic. So a lot of times that is a TVH, or transvaginal hysterectomy, where the same options, you end up with the same sort of results, but you don't have the scar because it's all done transvaginally, and then through the cervix, and then in. And sometimes they don't go through the cervix, they'll take the cervix as well. Some women prefer to keep the cervix. Some women want the cervix removed as well, depending on if they have HPV infection, or if they're concerned about abnormal pap smears, or if they're just tired of getting pap smears. And there's been some debate over the years as to whether a woman who's had either partial or total hysterectomy, whether they still need to get pap smears. And my opinion on that has been, if there's no cervix, there's no reason to do a pap smear. And I've also seen some who say that the it's called a cuff is what's left over after everything is removed. So at the vagina becomes a blind pouch essentially, but they'll still want to do a sort of a cell capture just to make sure there's no residual cervix tissue. And almost always there's not, and it's not necessary. So I kind of lean toward with that group that says that if you've had a total or partial hysterectomy and the cervix has been removed, that it's not necessary to continue having pap smears, because again, there's no tissue to collect. So, but I think that's sort of an optional thing that you can discuss with your gynecologist, or if you're seeing a family doctor that's doing your annual exams, you can discuss those options with that provider. Let's see, ovaries were badly scarred, so they took it all. Okay, large tumor attached to the uterus, that's called a myoma or a leiomyoma, depending on how much muscle is involved in the tumor. These are benign tumors, but they lead to all kinds of bleeding issues because the endometrium is not able to adhere correctly to the uterus in that area. Best thing you ever did. Well, good for you, Deborah. I think that's awesome. Let's see. Real ruler. You know what? These things are not helping me tonight. You see, yeah, your mom had the transvaginal. Hilarious. After, while in the hospital, she was high on painkillers. Yeah, there's lots of fun videos out there of people who are coming out of anesthesia. And I think there's even one or two of those of me after I've had procedures, and the DW thought it would be interesting to video me as I was somewhat lucid, somewhat not lucid, and the things that you say, which are out of your control when you're under the influence. And okay, so Kathy P. question: I am day 5 into the flu. Oh, so sorry. Did you get a flu shot this year? Curious about that. Vertigo is a problem now, getting worse every day. Went to the ER thinking I was dehydrated. They said no. So sometimes you can have two things that happen that are unrelated, although sometimes the medications that we use for flu, like the Tamiflu, for example, can cause vertigo. So that's possibly a medication side effect, or it could be just benign positional vertigo that has nothing to do with the flu. But I'm very skeptical because generally speaking, people that have the flu get dehydrated, and when they stand up, they get a bit lightheaded, and they go into the ER, or they go someplace and they tell the doctor they're dizzy. So I have a rule in my clinic. I do not allow my patients to tell me they're dizzy. If they say, doctor, I'm saying dizzy, I just say, well, I got to tell you, I don't know what dizzy means. So you're going to have to be a bit more descriptive, because if they mean lightheaded, that's a different set of symptoms, and I look for different problems than somebody that has spinning vertigo. And the way I describe it is I say, now, do you feel like you've just gotten off a merry-go-round and the world is spinning? And if they say, no, I just feel like I'm getting weak, then that is lightheadedness, or pre-syncope is what we would say in medicine. Let's see. Vertigo, Kathy, let's see, Kristen, vertigo, most of all vertigo is benign. About 50% of adults experience vertigo at one point or another in their life. I've had it happen to me twice. It's no fun. Once I ended up, it was at work, I ended up in the bathroom vomiting because it just came on just rather suddenly. And I ended up having to call for a ride. I had to get the DW to come pick me up and drive me home, and left my vehicle there. And I felt fine the next day, came back in, and my vehicle fortunately was still there. So no, didn't get the flu shot. So a lot of people don't get the flu vaccine. And so we're seeing a wave of flu now. We, in my clinic here in Southeast Texas, we did not see cases of the flu coming in at the end of last year. So I got my flu shot in September, early September, sometime in September. The problem with the flu shot you have to keep in mind is it only lasts 3 months. So if you're at high risk for having the flu, you want to be sure that you're safe for the entire flu season, it's a good idea to get a second flu shot. And you can see right here, folks, I got the second flu shot Monday. So I stepped up and said, because we had just gotten two positive flu swabs in a row, and we were having people coming in with flu symptoms, but the flu swabs were coming up negative. I drew blood on a couple of them, and they came back. It takes 5 days, but both of them came back positive with the flu. So even though the swab was negative, they had the flu. And so you can't always rely on that test. So if somebody has all the symptoms of flu and the flu swab is negative, I tend to go ahead and treat them for flu anyway. So where are we? Have I seen the one where a girl gets her wisdom teeth out and her brothers trick her into believing that there was a zombie apocalypse? No. But I did see one, Ruler, where a guy had some kind of procedure done, and his wife is there with him as he's waking up, and he doesn't know who she is. And he says, "Who are you?" And she says, "I'm your wife." And he says, "Wow, you're beautiful. I really did well," which I thought was awesome. Real ruler. We can only take one pet. Should we take the dog or the cat? The cat, you idiot. The dog is stupid. Okay. Fluorescent lights trigger yours, Deborah. Kathy P. Yes, nauseous all the time. She put me in a wheelchair to go to X-ray, and as soon as she started pushing me, I about threw up. I presume you didn't have just a regular X-ray. I presume you had a CAT scan. Regular X-rays of the skull are not helpful for the most part. So if typically if you're worried about some kind of structural abnormality or something going on, like say, a subdural bleed or something of that nature, we'll do a CAT scan. I've just not found a lot of use for straight skull X-rays unless somebody has had trauma. And even then, if they have a hairline fracture, it's going to be immediately followed with a CT scan. And in fact, if you're worried that somebody may have a brain injury or a skull fracture, it makes more sense to just go right ahead and do the CT scan. Same with sinuses. We used to do sinus X-rays a lot on people. And occasionally, somebody in my clinic will order a sinus series. Here's the info on that. You get a lot more information on a sinus CAT scan, and a sinus CAT scan costs the same. It's the same price, and you get more information. The only difference is you usually have to go across the street to an imaging center and get a CAT scan, as opposed to just using our X-ray facility. Although we have a wonderful X-ray tech that does beautiful work, and you can get some information from sinus X-rays. If I feel like I want to get an X-ray and get a good look in a sinus and find out if somebody has a blocked maxillary sinus and they're keeping an infection that just won't seem to go away, I'll do a quick X-ray. I won't do a full sinus series, but if I see that, then I will order the sinus series or the sinus CT so I get more information. Nauseous all the time. She put me in a wheelchair. Okay. Diagnosed with benign paroxysmal positional vertigo. I'm not familiar with using the paroxysmal portion, although there are some people that do seem to get a lot of benign positional vertigo. Paroxysmal seems redundant, because people that get BPV, benign positional vertigo, it's almost always paroxysmal anyway. And paroxysmal, for those of you who don't know, just means sort of intermittent, but without any kind of indication or a reason for it. Yours is related to MS. So yeah, there you go. So that would be there's an example of somebody. You might say you have a paroxysmal positional vertigo and it's benign, although I question the word benign. I think in what you're saying when you say benign positional vertigo, you're saying there's not a tumor or something. But whether or not something's benign or not, it depends on your situation. If you're driving a truck and you have occasional vertigo, that's not benign. That's serious. That's a problem, because we can't have you driving an 18-wheeler truck down the highway and then suddenly the whole world appears to be spinning, because we don't want you swerving off the road and running into either somebody else or running into a non-movable object that could end your life. So we typically don't give commercial driving licenses to individuals who have frequent vertigo. And no, it's not fun. Is it too late to get a flu shot now? Absolutely not. You definitely can get a flu shot now. As I just pointed out, I just got my second one on Monday. So yes. A lot of medications can cause vertigo as a side effect. That's right, Deborah. Okay, you're welcome, Kathy P. I hope that helps. Great way to get points on your driver's license, especially, yes, the points you don't want to get, right? Not good points. They were looking to make sure it wasn't pneumonia. So they did a chest x-ray. Okay, I got it. I see now. All right. So that makes sense. That was from the girl who was high on PK. Her brothers kept asking her stupid questions, and that was one and her reaction. I presume the funny video you were talking about earlier. Okay. How many of us are having our clothes getting loose? Me, definitely. I was surprised to get on the scale this evening and see 193. I figured I'd probably was a little bit lighter because I was getting rid of so much fluid still. I expected maybe to see, since I was 196 last week, I expected maybe 195. But when I saw 193, I was a little bit shocked. Because I'm a bit concerned a little concerned that I'm getting dehydrated right now. I don't think I'm getting dehydrated. I don't feel dehydrated. My mouth's not dry. My pulse rate's not up, and I feel fine. The only thing I'm not doing, I'm not drinking the regular amount of fluid I would drink in the evenings, because when I fast, I stop drinking fluids after about 6 o'clock in the evening, because if I don't, the actual act of fasting causes a release of lots of fluids, and I end up having to get up 2, sometimes 3 times at night to go to the bathroom, and then I don't feel as refreshed in the morning when I wake up. So I think mine's not necessarily that I'm dehydrated, although I have to consider that as a slight possibility. I guess we'll know in a day or two when things settle back out and I get back into my regular whole food plant-based eating. However, I am not going to fast on Thursday because I will have done this 3-day cleanse with each day of only 450 calories. So I think what's happening is there's a possibility that something good is going on in my liver, and my liver is probably emptying itself of maybe old stores of glycogen. And as a result, when that happens, we free up water. That's why it's called a carbohydrate. Carbohydrates have hydrate molecules or water molecules that are released when they're broken down. Let's see what I've missed here. When do you have to burn out sinuses? Ooh, I missed a bunch. Okay, you guys lost me. Sinus surgery is done for lots of reasons. One, for obstruction secondary to deviated septums. If you look at me, you can see my face does not appear the same left versus right. I have a deviated septum from birth, and I've talked to an ENT years ago about this issue, because one of the things it does is, since I wear spectacles, the nose bone is a little bit further over to the left than to the right, and so I always end up having to adjust my spectacles. See, you can see they're not. It's hard to tell this direction, but they usually the nose pads end up being pushed more over one way or the other, so that I can kind of even out to the focal points, because you do have a focal point really that works through the center of your spectacles. So anyway, I got tired of that. And also, when I wear sunglasses, when I wear my Ray-Bans, they're not adjustable, so they just end up being crooked. And one ear, everybody's ears are different. One's always a little bit higher, so I always end up kind of crooked like this. But since I'm out on a boat or driving or whatever, and I don't wear them indoors, it's not an issue. So that would be one reason. Another reason, if you have a lot of nasal polyps, which are little extensions of the endothelial lining in the sinuses, those can sometimes lead to chronic infection. They can be associated with allergies to aspirin and other allergic rhinitis issues, and that can be problematic. And so those are removed, and that would be a reason to have a sinus surgery. But I think what you're referring to is, when do we have the ear, nose, and throat surgeons come in and actually open up sinuses? And I think that's what you mean by burning. what they do is they go in and they find the ostium, or the opening into the maxillary sinuses and the frontal sinuses, and they can go up into the frontal sinuses, and they actually will drill open a wider space so that if you do have mucus buildup, it'll drain properly. And the same with the maxillary sinuses, because if you have trapped fluid, then it can actually lead to erosion of the maxillary sinus, and you can develop an osteomyelitis, which is an infection that gets into the bone. So that's an important indication to have that procedure done. All right. Let's see. Sounds painful. Deborah Barlow, my back is back in. Good. Not from loose stomach skin. I still hate the loose skin, though. Going to just deal with it. Yeah. Unless you want to go have surgery and have it removed, you do just deal with it. And Real Ruler bringing more comedy to our evening says, congratulations, Deborah, on your growing clothing. A lot of us are having growing clothing. That's good. Sue is here. Hey, Sue. Welcome. What are you doing up so late? It's good to see you. I hope all is well in England. Been watching the news. Interesting things happening with the Brexit. It looks like the Brexit is off, huh? I'm not sure if that's the case or not. Just reading snippets of news here and there without getting too deep into it. It looks like that's not going to happen after all. So I'm curious about all that. I find it fascinating. Irrespective of how somebody feels about being a part of the EU or not, whether a nation state member of the European Union can actually break free or not, is a question I think that hadn't been anticipated, but apparently was legal. Here in the United States, something very similar was attempted back in the late 1800s when states decided that the federal government was becoming too powerful, and they did not like laws having to do with slavery and other states' rights. You know, a collection of states that comes together under certain rules, and then some of those rules change, sometimes makes people think in those states that they no longer should have to be a part of that. And so we fought a very bloody war. 450,000 Americans, brothers and sisters, fathers, sons, lost their lives in, I believe it still today is the war in the U.S. That had the most casualties, although I think World War II was pretty close. Not entirely certain. I'd have to look at the statistics on that. So I find that interesting a little bit. So got a lot of hellos. Okay, I missed some of that. And 193, thank you, Sue. I don't know that that's not just fluid shifting because of this juiced detox thing I'm doing or not. I really don't know. But I guess I'll know in a few days when things kind of get back to normal. So you were on live earlier. I'm sorry I missed that. We have been working really, the DW is working on developing a new public figure type account on Facebook. And so separate from a private account, you can have a public figure account, which is more like it allows you to have a lot more members, and gives you more features, like you can set up an e-commerce store, and that's what she's working on right now. So we're working on that. Something also that I recently learned, and I did not know this, but apparently Facebook and Instagram are the same company now. Either that or they have a really strong working relationship, because now when you post to Facebook, you can automatically have it post to your Instagram account. So the DW wants to take over the social media. She's leaving the YouTube to me, and she's taking over the Facebook. and I've been kind of following along and watching and helping here and there wherever I could. But it seems to me like Facebook can do everything, and I mean everything that you can do on YouTube, you can now do on Facebook, and possibly even more. So we'll see how that all transpires, but we're not going to give up YouTube. I enjoy YouTube, and I'm familiar with it and comfortable with it. So I'm going to keep this as my baby, and let her do the Facebook end of things, and pitch in whenever I can. But I'm going to let her work on that one, and I'm going to kind of try to keep my answering of questions and communicating and staying in touch with you guys and sharing news and videos and things like that here. The videos I'm also going to be uploading there. So Sue, one thing that that I'm going to be doing, and you might consider doing this too if you're I know you have a Facebook account. I don't know if you have a regular account, but it may not matter, because what I've discovered now with Facebook is it's possible to upload a video and then schedule it to be shown at a later time, just like is possible here with YouTube. So if I have a video that I want to share in both places, I'm going to have it shown here first, and then the following morning, no, I guess just the opposite. Now I'm not sure which way I went. I'm going to have it shown first on Facebook. I'm shooting for about 6:45 p.m. Central Time to reveal the video there first, and then I'll have it automatically come out here on the Vignettes channel at 7 o'clock in the morning. So if you don't want to be but just in one place, you'll still get all the same material. The thing that I like about the Facebook, putting the videos there too, is that they can be shared on other people's accounts. So if, like, for example, I've got a really good video that I'm working on today that I had a patient in, and we had a long discussion about diabetes, and we had a long discussion about compliance with medications, and we had a patient, this patient wanted to talk about what's going on with him because he's having his first neuropathy problems, and he's been a very non-compliant diabetic for some time. So I had an opportunity to sit with him, and I set the camera up where we were sitting kind of side by side so that I could kind of show our discussion and talk to him about what the consequences were going to continue to what consequences were going to continue to occur to him if he did not start taking better care of his diabetes. So that's going to show up. The other thing is this channel, the Vignettes channel, is more of a channel for people that are really interested in health and nutrition, and I'm trying to make this channel have the videos that I don't think really would interest people that are only going to my main YouTube channel just to see, you know, procedures of different kinds. So this channel here is a little bit more of an intimate channel. I enjoy this channel a lot more than that other. In fact, I don't even do the other channel. I have editors that take care of that one. So the videos that were more appropriate for education, for learning, for the dissemination of information, which I'm going to try to do as much of as I can for you guys, are going to be here and on Facebook. And then on Facebook, we'll also have the other videos. So the Facebook will end up with everything. The more less graphic kind of videos I'm going to put here, and as far as YouTube is concerned, but the graphic videos will stay on the main channel, where they'll, of course, they'll be automatically blocked by YouTube. So if you're interested in doing that, you have that option. If you didn't know about it, if you did, well, I apologize for if it sounded like I was assuming that you didn't know, but it was something that I just recently learned about it, so I like to share. So let's see, we got upstate New York. Let's see. I missed the new hair. Okay, that's going to be on my list. I got to go look. Because again, we got so caught up with doing so much that I didn't get a chance to get into some of that. So you guys who watched the cleansing videos, thank you so much for doing so. I was a little bit disappointed. Some of them only got 15 or 20 views, but I also did 6 of them in a row, so I guess I shouldn't have expected much more than that. Debs, the juices today are the same juices from yesterday, and they're the same juices from tomorrow. That's one of the reasons why I didn't have Jennifer come back and talk about the juices again, because they're the same juices. Nothing new there. So I'll be going through that same series of 6 tomorrow, and then I'll be finished. Okay, so Lori, you're losing. Your rings are loose. Well, congratulations. That's wonderful. And if anybody I've not said hi to, I apologize. Hello, hello. Hate your vision, minus 650. I don't know. For some reason tonight, I've got a little bit of a headache. Yeah, this is definitely not working for me tonight. Let's see, Real Ruler, even with your pointing it out, I still can't see the asymmetry in my face. Okay, well, part of the problem is the lighting is not equal, left versus right, but you can kind of see I have, it's like a little curve that kind of comes like this a little bit, and it catches up. Maybe I do it this way. You can, I think maybe the hat kind of disguises it, but you can see I have a little deviated septum, and it kind of just comes like that. And I have a small nose, and as a result, the deviated septum sometimes leads me, if I have a bit of congestion, I don't have a lot of room for breathing still. So if I were to get really congested, I'll spend the night having to breathe through my mouth, and I hate that, because then you wake up with this really dry mouth thing a couple of times in the middle of the night. But anyway, I do have it. I've lived with it, and I'll die with it, because there's no reason for me to do anything about it. It's not that concerning. Kristen's wanting to know how everyone is making their clothes grow. Well, that's cute. I like that. Deborah Barlow is down to a 14. Congratulations. Beverly Felder, seems like after sinus surgery, people's voices sound so different. Yes, because the intonation, no, the resonation is the word. There's my malapropism coming out. Resonation changes. If a person is a tenor in the opera and they have to have sinus procedure, there is the chance that it will change the way their voice sounds, because a lot of the character of our voice actually is affected incredibly by the size and the shape of the maxillary sinuses. Sue doesn't seem to sleep much because she is Superwoman, I think. I think she has a superpower that requires her not to sleep much. No phone? No phone, Sue? Presume that means you're having something done to your phones. Let's see. Real Ruler. Kristen started lifting weights every few days. Lost just over 20 pounds and am considerably stronger than I've ever been in my life. Can't judge loss by weight as much, but need new pants. Good for you. I was all muscle and 245 pounds for several years and was unhealthy, but thought I was healthy. But I could snap steel in half with my powerful hands. That's not entirely true, but I was very strong. I'm still very strong, but I'm much healthier, and I would rather be healthier than be able to bench press 400 pounds, which at one point I could do in my 40s, and that's unusual. So let's see, too much caffeine. If you're talking about my need to continue to go and relieve the water, no, I don't think there's caffeine in the juices. If there is, it's not much. But the other thing is, even if I did have a little caffeine, it would be worn off long before leaving the clinic, because if I do have a cup of coffee, it's just for flavor and taste, and for I like to sip on something warm in the mornings, and that's all it is. Okay, let's see. Patsy, you learned a long time ago, if you buy your clothes a size too large, the family thinks you're losing weight, then they quit griping about me being fat. Oh, Patsy. I think if you buy clothes that are too large, then your body finds a way to fill them. It's sort of like having a closet. If you have a closet that's empty when you first move into a home, over time, you will begin subconsciously to accumulate items to fill that closet. If you've noticed, if you have a space of any kind, in time you will find things to put in it, and that goes with clothing too. And I think that it's important, if you do lose weight, that you go ahead, let's say if you lose 20 pounds or more, that you consider buying clothes a size smaller, so it'll help keep you at that weight. All right, Deborah says she'll be weighing herself in February. Okay. I think I missed. Oh yeah, yep. That was good. Got it. Okay. We are such a territorial species. Interesting. Yahoo DW, did she come on? She's trying to take a break because she's been working on Facebook all day today, and she's really taking this on as a project, and she's really making me proud because she really wants to be the social media director of the things that we do, and I think she's fantastic at social media, and I really, really am excited to see her step up and step in and take over that role. Let's see. Real Ruler, the only thing I don't like about Facebook is they make you enter all your info and has a far from stellar track record when it comes to privacy. FYI, Microsoft bought Facebook a few years ago. Here's the solution to that. Don't put anything in Facebook that you don't want people to know. You don't have to answer all those questions. You can leave them blank, or you can put information that just doesn't mean anything. Like you can put your birthday as 1/1, in the wrong year or something like that. So you need not put information in there that you don't want shared. And that's something we can all learn about social media in general. Don't ever put anything online that you don't want shared. Our generation is less likely to have made that mistake. I worry for the youth out there that has said a lot of things in their youthful indiscretion that they may end up paying for in later years, because even if they delete it, there are ways to go online, and there are services that actually have robots that crawl through the internet and capture everything every day or on a very regular basis. So even if something is deleted, it's possible to go back in time and find that information. Yes, you can. I have a big Facebook account. It's all I did before my accidental YouTube. Cool. Okay. So you knew about that. Wonderful. Wonderful. If you have any YouTube tips for the DW, let her know. I posted the new public YouTube address, and I'll post it again now. So if you haven't joined, I would ask you to consider doing that. If you're not into Facebook, I'm totally cool with that too. No phone coming after iOS update killed it. No phone since Friday. Well, Abby did something almost as bad. She put hers in the washing machine, and so I think she just got the new one. I saw a box. I'm not sure if that was it, but I saw a box on the counter. So fortunately, we had the insurance policy. We ended up getting her a new or a replacement iPhone 10 for a little over $100 with the insurance, which is a lot better than the $1,000 price tag. Brenda, you can't sing because of your sinuses instead of no talent. Yay. I can't sing because I don't carry a tune very well. Although when I do sing, if I get it right, it's not bad. Okay, moving on down here. Kathy P. YouTube randomly decides to delay notification of streams for me, sometimes until the stream is nearly done. I'm sorry about that. Can't figure YouTube out all the time. but we just keep plugging on. Let's see. Sue says, if you wear yoga pants all the time, you don't realize you're gaining weight. I defo learned that one. So yoga pants. So if you buy yoga pants, make them really tight, right? I don't know. Are they stretchy anyway? So it doesn't really matter. Yahoo DW for the Facebook account. Oh, okay, gotcha. Oh, territorial species was read my Brexit comments. Yes, interesting. I just find it fascinating, the whole political thing that's happening, how much the EU seemed to fight it, which I thought was really interesting, because I think that if you have a group of people that have decided to band together and do something, and then you have a member of that group that decides, hey, I don't want to play anymore, then you'd say, hey, well, thanks for playing. You can come back later if you want to. Anyway, so Sue, anything that you can do to help the DW, we would appreciate. Thank you. She's trying to put our Shopify account on the public Facebook account now, and Facebook has immediately banned all of our supplements. So we are appealing that because they're all certainly very safe. And Dr. Gilmore, I hear, has developed the majority of those products. Of course, I didn't invent vitamin D, for example, but there's no reason that we shouldn't be able to sell vitamin D, and they banned it. So we've got an appeal request in. And I told her, she was a little disappointed about that. And I just said, look, some of these things just take time. But once we get it right, it'll stick. But the cool thing about Facebook is it's going to allow us to explore different products in different ways of helping to sponsor our channels and our work. So those of you that prefer to get your supplements locally, but still want to support us, we'll have other options if you want to, and you may see something that you like, and if you do, great. We appreciate it. And if you don't, great. We still love you, and we still love to have you. It's all a matter of just being able to afford to continue doing the work. That's all. And that's yeah, Patsy, you bring up an excellent point here too, because a lot of employers, if you apply for a job, one of the first things they do is they check your social media, and they find out what kind of person you are, what your viewpoints are, and they want to find out as much about you as they possibly can. If they find that you have a caustic personality, they may discount you from the job immediately just based on what they're reading on Facebook. So I suggest that we try to get that message out to them. I think most of them have figured out that sexting is a bad idea. So I think parents have caught on to that problem. And so we're hearing less about that happening. Yeah, she dropped it in the washer. She had me look around the house with her for half an hour the other day looking for it. And then she got upset because after 30 minutes, I said, okay, I don't know where it is. I'm going to stop looking. It'll show up. And she said, well, thanks, Dad. And then about an hour later, she walked in and she said, I found it. And I said, oh, okay. Where was it? And she said, it was in the washing machine. But she put it in the bag full of rice because the rice is supposed to draw out the moisture, but it didn't work for her because she actually had a little crack in the back of the phone, and I think too much moisture got in and it was ruined. Lee says he sings tenor 20 yards from the choir. That's awesome, Debs. Love it. Saw a road sign today that said being vegan was a mistake. But mistake was spelled missed, MISSED space STEAK. It was a mistake. I didn't really see that road sign. I just made that up. But I did hear that joke, and I thought it was funny. Do I have a green wig? Is that for me or is that for Sue? I hope it's for Sue. I don't have a green wig. I have that blue one, but whatever color Sue has obtained or has gone to, I'm going to have to make sure that I have some kind of wig to wear at least one time. Let's see. Internet is lagging. I checked my internet speed beforehand, and I got the internet speed came back as super fast, so I felt good about that. Because I'm out in the Barndo right now, and we actually have a wireless point-to-point connection from our main, from inside the main home to the Barndo. But it's not as comfortable being in the house. I like it out here because it's quiet, and I like the lighting. So we did have that set up. It wasn't cheap to do, but it solved a lot of problems that we were having with internet speed out here. So if you're lagging, hopefully it's not from me. And I'm sorry if it is happening on your end. Real Ruler to Sue. Have you ever metal detected? Some of the detecting channels have visited England and detect farm fields, find hammered Roman coins and such that are over 1,000 years old. Another thing that I find that's interesting that they find are meteorites. I think those are pretty cool to find too. And I have my fishing magnet. Have I shown you all my fishing magnet? I don't think so. I'm going to show you my fishing magnet. Don't go away. Warning, strong magnet. This is one of those neodymium magnets. If this gets too close to this laptop, things will get fuzzy and I'll disappear in a minute. But I want you guys to see how they make these because it's pretty cool. It's just for magnet fishing, which if you don't know what magnet fishing is, it means you go to a public area like a dock, a fishing dock, or a beach area where people frequent and they lose things and they can't find them. It gets buried a few inches below the sand and they look and they look and they can't find it. And if it's in the sand, for example, at the beach, they can use a regular metal detector in some cases and it can be located, especially if it's something valuable. But if it's actually in the water, they're pretty much out of luck. So it's just lost sometimes for years. And you always see those stories where somebody finds a championship ring, that kind of thing that just gets washed up somewhere, and they post that they found this, 1968 Cotton Bowl championship ring or something. But this little thing right here is you tie to a rope and you just drop, and you might move it around a little bit and you pull it up. And if there's anything ferrous, anything metallic, iron, steel, this will bring it up. If you take this magnet right here and you attach it to, and you put it on a piece of plate steel, it will lift a piece of plate metal, plate steel or iron, up to 500 pounds. This thing is not very heavy, so that's an amazing amount of magnetism. So I'm pretty excited about an opportunity to try this thing out. And now I'm going to put it back in the box so they don't have to buy another laptop. Usually, back when I was using electronic record systems and carrying a laptop around, I would, about once every 2 years, I would have to replace the laptop because I would drop it. Usually I would carry it like a file, and it would flip out and it would bend the corner so that the screen would jam every time. And then what happens is the screen stops working. And I have a friend, he's an ex-IT guy, and he has a collection of my old laptops and computers and things that I've used over the years. He does all kinds of things. He pulls the little hard drives out and he uses them in his business to store data. It's just one of those things he does. So I have my fair share of damaged laptops. I'm not sure how I got onto that. Oh yeah, I don't want to do it again. Okay, so metal detecting. I would love to be in the Highlands somewhere in Scotland and find an authentic coin from the Roman times. I wonder if they have much ferrous content. Anyway, Beverly, still need to check your video today. Your today video's out. You're voluptuous and gorgeous. When you were on the radio, you looked amazing. On the radio? Talking to Sue. Okay, thank you. Learn to read, Doc. All right, where am I? Okay, yeah, rice never works. I've talked to some people that rice did work. I think if you drop some of these phones, Android or iPhone or other brands, I guess, if you drop it in water and you quickly get it out of the water, turn it off, and put it in rice overnight, there are cases where everything's okay, everything's groovy. Now, it could be just that there was never any real damage in the first place. So I guess hard to say, but I've had people that have told me that that they got their phones wet. The biggest thing is what? You guys know what usually happens to cell phones? They fall in the toilet because it seems like it's a teenager thing to put their phone in the back pocket. And so they go into the bathroom, and as they're pulling down their pants, the phone pops off into the toilet. They pull it out, or sometimes they'll cry for an adult because they're afraid to touch the toilet water. And if they get the phone out soon enough and you dry it off and you make sure it's turned off, sometimes the rice will work. All right. Thanks for doing the live chaps. Even at my old age of 53, I find learning no things. I think you meant learning new things, and you're not allowed to talk about being old when you're only 53. I am older than you. You're not allowed to do that, Brenda. You're not allowed to say you're old unless you're older than me. So you have to be 55 or older to say you're old. Yes, Ruler, that joke was something that I expected from you. I'm actually a little disappointed you didn't think of it first. Stream is fine. Let's see what else we got. Neck pain, not bad. Surprisingly, I'm enthusiastic that the injections I had last Wednesday seem to be cutting down on the headaches. So I have resolved myself to save up the $1,000 and go in and have injections again. This time, no steroids because they make me mean. But just to have the anesthetic and then the stem cell injection. So I think I will go ahead and do that if I can afford it. And I think I'll be able to. So magnet fishing, I can't wait to do it. I can't wait to do it. I'm pretty excited about giving it a try. I don't have a rope that I would trust yet. So I'm going to get a nylon, something rated for at least 500 pounds, maybe more. Wink will be, well, you know, I think you guys can get these in UK. And here's what's interesting. I think the older the place that you go to do the magnet fishing, the more likely you are to find something really interesting. So, in being from a European country or being from the UK, whether you are or are not part of the EU, depending on who knows what now, and I don't know what the next process is, but I think that if you find fishing spots, boat docks, things like that, you may be surprised at what you find. I get to go magnet fishing with you. Yes, come with me, Debs. We'll go magnet fishing. It'll be fun. Neodymium. Not sure that's right. We talked about how you use fishing magnets. Mom lost her engagement ring. Deborah, where was that? I need the GPS coordinates. So here's the sad thing about doing magnet fishing. Magnets do not work on anything that doesn't have at least some iron or steel, some ferrous content. So pure gold should not be attracted to a magnet. It just shouldn't. But like watches and a lot of jewelry has alloys that may or may not be conducive to magnet fishing. So should be fun. You thought it was to catch fish. Yes, Beverly, you can catch fish up in the northern part of the U.S. and Canada. There is a fish there called the steelhead, which I'm sure you've heard of before. And magnet fishing works for steelhead, obviously, with a name like steelhead. They actually incorporate steel into the superior cranial aspect of the fish's head. And so it's illegal in some places to go magnet fishing for the steelhead because it's an unfair advantage. And that's all a lie. Let's see. Rope on a magnet, throw it in the water, drag it back. Many videos on it. I thought you were throwing magnet to the fish and then tried to catch them. Nope. All right. Do you real ruler? Okay? You got me. Steelhead. Well, I just hadn't gotten to your comment yet, so we both thought the same thing. Someone gave me triple omega. Is this okay to take with Met-O7 and a multivitamin? The answer is yes. Yes, it is, because if you are still eating animal products, it's important to boost your omega-3s because animal products contain a lot of omega-6s, and omega-6s are highly inflammatory. And to counteract that, you increase your omega-3s because the ultimate inflammatory effect is based on the ratio of 3s to 6s. But I will tell you, if you are not eating animal products, then you can eliminate the omegas. Especially a lot of omega products are animal products. They're fish based, so flaxseed is a better choice, I think, my opinion. That magnet we talked about it lifts 500 pounds, and in the canals in the UK they have found motorbikes, guns from World War II, unexploded bombs, and of course shopping trolleys. I hear out in Oregon they have a big problem with people tossing scooters, the little scooters, into the lakes. They get tired of them, or they break or whatever, and they can't find a good place to dispose of them, so they toss them in. So there we go. I lost my spot. Hang on a second. Wow, you guys had a lot of stuff. I'm way behind. Shopping carts. Okay. Let's see. Trolleys or shopping carts. Yep. Snowstorm coming this weekend. It's going to get cold here. We're expecting to see some temperatures in Houston in the 20s, but it's not supposed to last very long. So all we're going to do is drip faucets and just kind of keep an eye on things. I don't think we're going to have to do any special wrapping. We lost all our palm trees last year with a heavy freeze, and so we don't have palms. We just have little plants around the pool, and they're very inexpensive and easy to replace if they don't make it. Okay, let's see. Move on down here. Patsy says she's old. Well, it's okay. We're all going to get there. Old adjacent. Okay, that works. Your mother always puts rice in the salt shaker to keep it free flowing. I've seen that before because the rice absorbs the moisture and prevents the salt from clumping. Deb says she's older than me but is not old. No, I'm not saying that no, you misunderstood. All I'm saying is if you're older than me, then you can't say, if you're younger than me, you can't say you're old. That's all I'm saying. 50's the new 30, I would say. Patsy's old enough to be my mother. Mama, there you are. I knew you were there. At least a foot of snow. I got a video from the first contact person I had with our production company, and she sent me a pic of her kids rolling around in 14 inches of snow. I thought that was pretty cool. And yes, I did hear from the production company today. We had a great talk, a conference call with a number of members of that group. And they said that they were working furiously to get everybody on board with a teaser video that they want to get out to the networks, that they'd already put a bug in the ear of a couple of well-known networks, and they've already expressed some interest and are waiting to see more. They also told me they will be at a big convention of some sort that's going to happen in New Orleans coming up in the next few weeks. It might even be at the end of the month or the first week of February, so it may be around Super Bowl weekend. And the idea was floated that the DW and I might actually be invited to attend so that we could meet some of these decision makers, because sometimes getting to actually meet the quote unquote talent can help sell a show. So I said, yeah, we'll be there. And then I told Gumby Jean about it, and she said, I'm going too, Doc. And I said, yes, you are. And she wants to bring Ben. And I said, Ben can come along too. But I think as far as the conference would be concerned, the three of us who would actually be participating in the reality show would be the ones that they would have come in. Of course, it would give me a chance to put on my freshest pair of blue jeans so that it looked good. So, but yeah, we talked about a lot of ideas, a lot of production stuff, and these guys, they're listening to me. They're listening to me, and they're watching my videos, and they're reading your comments, and they're getting a lot of insight into who we are and what we do. They're not coming onto this channel. They're going onto the main channel, as far as I know. And so an update on that. So it was a really good conversation. Went about 20, 25 minutes at lunch today, and very enthusiastic, a lot of excitement. They told me that from the top to from the owners to the editors, that everyone was very interested, very excited in what we bring to the table. And he told me, quote unquote, he said, you need to be prepared, because you may actually go straight to an offer for your first 10 episodes as opposed to just wanting some more footage. They said they could just want more footage, or they may look at you and say, yeah, we're ready. We're ready to say, we'll do this. We want 10 episodes. He said that would be rare, but that in our particular case, that there is a lot of demand for our kind of content. They feel that we have something unique to bring to the table. They like what we do. They like how we do it. They like how we interact with patients. And they think that we have potentially something very special. And I think we do too. So we'll see what happens. You can't really get too excited about it. You can get excited about it, I think. But I told him, I said, I'm really honored to be considered. I think this is just one of those moments in life where you do something for 25 years, and then all of a sudden it takes a change. It potentially becomes something more than you ever thought it could. And if that did, I would work day and night to make sure that we produced something that was as good as it possibly could be for us to do. Let's see, Lake Ontario, New York, an hour away from Niagara Falls. Been to Niagara Falls, love Niagara Falls. I have never been on the boat. Would love to do, I'm trying to think, Mist of the Sea, Queen of the Mist. You guys tell me if I'm close on the name of the boat that goes real close to Niagara Falls. Is it something like that, Queen of the Mist? You can't snag fish. Snag fishing is usually restricted in Texas to only certain kinds of fish. One that they do allow you to snag fish is the alligator gar, which can be up to 300 pounds. It's sort of a prehistoric appearing beast of a fish. Steelhead magnet fishing. Oh, I lost it. I lost my spot. Sometimes the chat just jumps like that, and I lose my space, and I've got to go back up. Here we go. Yep, snag fishing in Texas. I think the only thing you can legally snag fish is the alligator gar. All right, let's see. Steelhead magnet fishing. You don't fish because you find it cruel, and I respect your opinion. We don't keep the fish that we catch. However, we've had some people say that if you catch this, I need one because I want to do a stuffed flounder. Dr. McClendon told me that he likes redfish, and if next time I caught a good one, if I'd bring him one, he'd appreciate it. I think that those of you that say that it's cruel, I think you have a legitimate argument. I think that it's also cruel to, the way pigs are raised and slaughtered and kept in small cages and things like that. OMG, Doc, I wish I knew you personally. I'd laugh so much more. Thanks, Karen. It's sort of one of my objectives is to enjoy humor to its fullest. Let's see. Got to go past 4 a.m. Got 3% battery. Bye, Sue. If I missed you already, love you. See you soon. Sign in from the universe. It's bedtime. Love you all. See you soon. Yes, see you soon. Good night. Good night. And I'm sorry if I missed you already as I'm working through these. Fish do not have a developed enough nervous system to feel pain. From a study sponsored by PETA, it didn't turn out how they expected. Interesting. I'm always very careful when I catch and release to make sure that I do as little damage to the fish as possible. I don't fish in very deep water, so having fish where their air bladders expand is not an issue for me because I'm only fishing in usually about 3 or 4 feet of water. Scooters in the lake, terrible. Yep. Let's see what we have. 550 paracord would work for your magnet. It won't rot or mildew. Okay, paracord. I'll look for that. I think they might even have that at Academy Seeker. I'll check on that. I've got it tomorrow. We're going to do our whole food plant-based eating discussion at 2 o'clock our time. But afterward, I'm planning to make a trip unless it's super, super cold or wet or something to get some diesel for the heater, to pick up a couple of pieces of plywood so I can work on my bat boxes, and I might get a chance to get by Academy to see about some paracord. All right. Proud of you, son. Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Beverly. I'm just taking it one step at a time. We'll see how it goes. 31 inches of snow in Hershey, Pennsylvania. That's a lot of snow. Sounds like fun, though. Well, if you're in Houston, that sounds like a lot of fun. But I think that if you're in a lot of it, then it may not be quite as much fun. I think if you're in it a lot. When I was a child, I lived for 1 year near Boston in a little town called Franklin, Massachusetts. And that was my introduction to winter activities. And I loved sledding, and I loved, what's the big one? I want to say bobsled, but I think it's got another name. It just has the curved front where you can put a whole bunch of people on it. That was fun. My first honeymoon was at the Hershey Hotel in Corpus Christi, Texas, owned by the Hershey Corporation. I think they have since gotten out of the hotel business. I don't know. Let's see. Gotta love a town that smells like chocolate. If only they'd leave the milk out of it, right? Thank you for all the congratulations. I appreciate it very much. Maid of the Mist. Was I close? I thought I said Mist of the Falls or something like that. Maid of the Mist. Yes, that's what it is. That makes sense. You've been on. It's pretty cool. It's probably pretty wet too, I would think. Your grandpa was a surgeon fisherman. Sturgeon. Yeah. 300-pound fish. Wow. Yeah, these are and they're dangerous. They can do some pretty significant damage to you. You might look up alligator gar in Texas. It's pretty interesting. So we're all going to get cold this weekend. Some of you are going to get a lot of snow and maybe make some fun out of it. It looks like I'm going to be working on a bat box, a bat nest, or a bat nursery. Let's see. Tow rope would work. I have some tow rope, but it's pretty thick. It's proven if you smile even when you feel down, it helps you feel better. So smile more. That is absolutely correct. Beverly is telling you the truth. You have to throw back any sturgeon greater than 6 feet long. I think the larger sturgeon are more likely to be female and have eggs. I think that's the reason why they did that. Toboggans. That's right. Not tobogos. I think they're called toboggans. So we did some tobogganing. Good night, Lori. Yes, toboggan. Okay, you guys caught up. Did I find out what color bats? Okay, so with the bat box, you have to use different colors depending on what zone you're in. And I am in not the hottest zone, but the second hottest zone. So I'm supposed to use not black, but a little bit lighter color. And they gave you a list. They gave me a list. So I'm going to use their recommendation. And I talked today in the clinic a little bit about building bat boxes, and all I got were people with creepy looks. So if I'm making them, let's see, I'm going to try to make some this weekend, depending on the weather. If it's just way too cold, I can't get the barn, the outside part of the barn, warm enough to work in it, but I'll try. Your mother had them for displaced bats while a church was being tuck pointed. Interesting. Snowmobiling. Now that's something I could get into. Why is that with the smiling? I don't know why. Medicine doesn't always know why. We focus on what? We focus on what? The spa at Hotel Hershey in Pennsylvania has chocolate baths. That is some interesting stuff. Wow. You guys got me going for 1 hour and 32 minutes. Great talk, lots of fun. And I've reached the end of the comments. So I am going to call it a night. I have to get up early, so I'm going to put my glasses back on. There we go. And if I get back far enough, it looks pretty good. Hope the lighting looked good. So we can talk bats about that. We can talk about bats later. And if I do follow through with my plan to build a bat nursery box, I will capture that for those of you who are interested. And if I get good at it, I may make some bat boxes for people and send them out. How's that sound? That could be fun. Ran onto a lake. Ice wasn't thick enough, and she's dead. That's sad. That's a sad thing to end on. All right. Well, good night, everybody. Love you all. Thanks for the fun talk and the chat. And you guys are great. And who knows? Maybe we can. Yeah, I would try to make a video on the making the bat box ruler. I will try to do that. Okay. So 2 o'clock tomorrow, then I think will be the next thing. And I think I have a video scheduled. Anyway, there are new videos that are in production that are coming out that are more designed for us here. So I hope you enjoy those. and I appreciate your views on those because those are actually monetized. So if I get 100 views, I think I get 5 cents. That 5 cents is important. Thank you. And so watch them, please. And if a little video thing pops up, you only have to leave it up for 10 seconds, and I get credit for that. So keep that in mind. Just leave it up for a little bit longer before you click it off. That would be awesome. I would appreciate it if you would do that for me. Okay, so jump on the Facebook. If you haven't already, I'm going to put it back up on here. I appreciate you doing that and sharing with your friends. The old one had about 12,000 because we were just in development with that, and then we pulled that away from the individuals that were working on it, not because they had done anything wrong at all, but because the DW wanted to do it. And I said, you want to do it? It's yours. So we decided to not erase the work that had been done because a lot of work had been done to it. So we left it where it was. We just created a new public figure page. And so we're learning from scratch, developing and going with it. And that's going to be the DW's baby. And those of you who know Facebook and how to get around a lot of that stuff, I appreciate your help and your patience with that. So anyway, let's call it a night. Good talk. Had fun. Thank you for entertaining me. I love you all again. And 2 o'clock tomorrow, unless I just jump on in the morning for whatever apparent reason. Okay. Take care.